Before we start, I want to say this. If you're a beauty professional or service-based business owner who's doing all the right things, but still feels like your income depends on how much you physically show up and how many hours you can squeeze into your schedule, I built my new program for you. Limitless is for the woman who wants to earn more without adding more hours, who needs clearer strategy and the energy and identity shifts that actually move the needle in your business. It is a space where you're not doing this alone and where you can ask me questions anytime. I work super closely with you inside this container alongside a like-minded community of business owners who are serious about their growth as well, but also about life. So if you're ready to grow and want support doing it properly, book a call with me. The link is in the show notes for you. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome to the Beauty Build podcast with me, Zara King. As a coach for beauty pros, it is my mission to help you earn more, work less, and create an unstoppable mindset. This is the show where we explore all of that. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting your beauty business, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us on the journey. And for more, get yourself inside my private community, The Beauty Build on Facebook. Hello and welcome back to another episode. I am so glad that you're here. It's so nice that we spend so much time together. If you're new here and we haven't spent so much time together, my name is Zara King. I am a business and mindset coach for beauty professionals. You probably already know that from the intro, but I just like to give you a little warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know where you're coming in from as well, please. We have so many listeners from all over the world and it just makes me mind blown. So yeah, if this is your first time tuning in, what an episode to listen to. We are talking today about how you should be talking to your dreamiest clients. And we're talking about the fact that it's costing you more than you think because you're not doing it properly. This week's been a crazy week. It's also, today when this comes out, is also my daughter's 10th birthday. And it honestly makes me feel so old. And I can't believe that I have a 10-year-old. She's my firstborn baby. And yeah, I can't believe that she's 10. So this week there's lots of lovely things going on. And what I wanted to do is really do this episode. I'm recording this in advance. And I wanted to give you a bit of an overview on this because it's something that people get wrong all the time. And it could be such an easy fix, and it is crushing your sales and your bookings and your bottom line. And it's, when I say easy fix, I mean like simple. It's quite a simple fix. It's not easy, it feels hard, but once you nail it, it's actually such a game changer. It's massively changing the game for my clients inside Limitless, and not only for them and their results, but just how they feel and how they show up. And so I really want to get into this today. So first things first, you are putting out content all the time, right? All the time to grow your business. And there is no point in putting out content if it's not talking to the right people. I just want to say that straight away. There isn't any point, because yes, you might get a couple of likes or a little bit of engagement, but you're not going to get the conversion that you want. So this is really for you if you find that maybe you've been in the industry for a while. So most of the people that I help in this industry are self-employed beauty pros who've been around a little while. They are either in salon or renting a space, or they are from home or in a cabin or even mobile, and they are sort of looking for their second level of success in this industry. They have already got clients, right? So you've probably already got clients, but you can feel a little bit of a ceiling, like an income ceiling. You feel a bit capped and you just think, oh, is this it? Right? So this is for you because you've been putting out content and you get some results, but the conversions are really not that high, and you've been relying on a little bit of like word of mouth and, let's be honest, luck. Okay, you've been posting, you've been hoping that the algorithm does you a favor, you've been hoping that people reach out to you. And the next level, right, is actually doing things properly. It's actually stepping into your next level identity. It's being the CEO, it's stepping up, it's doing things with intention. It's being the person who is ready to hold the next level version of your business. And that is a whole topic in itself, right? Today I want to talk to you about talking to people in your content, because if you're still getting clients that are like sometimes brilliant, sometimes, mess you about a little bit or expect favors, or, we get into bad habits, okay? Sometimes you might open your diary and think, okay, I'm pretty much fully booked, but I'm still dreading that client, or I'm still dreading that particular day, or there's a high chance that you're just not really talking to your dreamiest clients. Okay, it's not necessarily the fact that you don't know how to do content. You probably know how to put out a reel, you probably know how to do a carousel, you probably know how to go onto your stories and do things, but it's actually the language and who you're talking to within your copywriting. By copywriting, if you're new here, I do mean the actual language and the words that you use in your posts and in your captions. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual dialogue, the actual wording. And so we need to make sure that the content that we put so much effort into and that stresses us out so much, not that it does if you're in my world, because we actually do that together and we have a structure that you follow so that you don't feel so burnt out by it all. But the content that most people are so stressed about, let's make sure that it's talking to the right people. Let's make sure that it's doing its job, because if it's not doing that heavy lifting for you, then what is the point, right? What is the point in stressing out about it as much as you do? It just, I just prefer to give you a little shake and say, come on now. So I want to give you a little bit of a zoomed out perspective, because I'm not involved in your business, and it's so much easier to look at a business and look at who you're talking to from an outside perspective. This is why I do things like audits for people when I look at their content or I look at their social medias, because I can zoom out and I can have a look and go, well, actually, that's not talking to anyone. But when you're inside the business, you actually can't see a lot of this. You can't see what you're doing isn't quite right. You just can't zoom out enough, because you're emotionally connected to the people that you work with already. Your brain is also wired to keep you safe and to go into sort of autopilot. So your brain is just trying to do the sort of same things over and over again. And generally speaking, those things that it wants to do all the time aren't really helpful, to be honest. Again, that's like a different discussion. But I want you to know that when you're inside your business at that level, it is hard to see all of this. So it's not like I'm pointing the finger and judging you for this. It's just a fact that we get too close to everything and we can't see through it. Okay, so what I want you to look at is, like, with your content, are you still talking to like a current client that you probably attracted 5 years ago, right? In your content now, are you still talking to that same client? Because it should evolve, it should grow. Okay, the people that you want to attract as you become better and better at what you do, and as you become a more established business owner, that ideal client, that dream client, should evolve. So like when we first start our businesses, like back in 2011 when I started out mobile, I was talking to like friends and family, really surface level, like trying to get a little bit of word of mouth going on. It was literally basic stuff. I mean, I didn't have social media back then, let's be honest, but it was basic stuff that I was thinking about to try and get people in the door. Like at first, let's be honest, we want models, we want people to just practice on, we want to build up a portfolio. Then we get a few good clients in the door and we start talking to them about the services, and we might up level a little bit and talk about the skill behind the services. But we need to actually talk to the right client that wants the stuff. We need to talk to them, not the treatment. We need to make sure that our language isn't just listing what we do, but we need to start talking about, you know, more advanced stuff, like actually speaking their language and getting into their needs, their pain points, their desires. So that's the first sort of thing I want you to decide. Like, are you still talking to maybe like a past client or current level of clientele that really isn't like dreamy? Okay, are you still just using like industry language, industry jargon? Are you just still listing the features of treatments rather than talking to their pains and desires that particular treatment actually solves for them? I hope this is making sense. The other thing that you probably are doing is maybe just building and talking as if you are your past self without recognizing all the growth that you've had. And this can be quite a crazy experience, and you need to probably get into it every single day. It's like, really look at yourself with some serious love and be like, wow, I've grown so much. You know, look at how far you've come, look at the amazing things that you do, and really put yourself on that kind of like level of, I freaking love myself, I've done so well. And just talk to yourself really kindly and remember how much you have done. Because if we get stuck in thinking I'm just this, and I did an episode on that, but if you get stuck in just thinking like, oh, I've been doing this for a long time now, like we get complacent and we don't see how amazing we are, we can also just start talking to like a lower caliber of person, because we don't actually identify as someone who's fucking great at what we do, keeps growing, keeps expanding, and we end up just sitting in this stagnation, still talking to people as if we just started out, or as if we've just got our first 20 clients. Like, no, we're great. We've been doing this a little while now, okay? And so what happens is those two things are happening. That's a guarantee. And what happens is everything becomes a bit watered down. Everything becomes a bit generic. We're talking to pretty much everyone and anyone in our content, okay? And you might not be able to see this yourself. So that's why I'm sort of bringing your awareness to, what that sounds like, i.e. it sounds like, hi, I love doing this today for Mary. She had this LVL, lash lift and tin, and she had this done and she had that done, and it took this amount of time, it cost this much, DM me to book in. Or this is what it does for you. It gives you soft looking, filled looking lashes, longer length, blah blah blah. Basically feature, right? That you think you're talking to the ideal client by telling them the result of the LVL, but you're not. You're talking about your LVL, and you're talking to everyone. And if they don't care about LVL, they're not going to care about your post. Okay, so that's what I mean. You're talking to everyone. You're watering things down. You're being too vague. Let's say that. That's a good word to describe this. You're being too vague, and there's no pull. There's no emotional pull to get somebody to go, oh yeah, she's talking to me. Oh my gosh, is she in my brain? Like that was directed at me personally, right? So I want you to imagine like there's a massive room full of people, and there's like a whole room full of people, and there are so many beauty pros around the edge of the room holding up a card that says lash lift and tin, okay? And they're trying to attract clients, right? They're trying to attract clients. Well, no one cares because they're all doing the same thing. Whereas then you come in and you hold up a card that says this lash lift and tin makes you go from feeling like unkept, busy, like stupidly busy mum of 3 who doesn't look after herself, to actually making some time for yourself, feeling confident, stepping out of the house, people giving you compliments and going, you look bloody brilliant. How do you do it all? Like you talk to their identity, and then like people in that big room, you might not get all of them come to you, but you get exactly the right ones that sit in that category. You get those people that go, oh my God, she's talking to me, right? That's just a random example of it. Okay, so such a random analogy, but I'm just trying to think off the top of my head how to explain this to you. So it gives you more, like, better conversion. Okay, you won't have to speak to the whole room because you just speak directly to those people and they come to you straight away, and the conversion rates are higher. Okay, everyone else around that room holding up their board of generic God knows what, no one's going to want to make a decision. They're probably going to go all the way around those boards and go, how much do you cost? How much do you cost? How much do you cost? Until they get to the one that says the cheapest price. You don't want to be in that boat. You do not want to be there, okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you and it explains what I'm trying to say in a visual kind of way for the people that need that, So, by this point, by this point that you're probably talking to anyone. And what I want you to realize as well is when you're doing this, okay, it feels easy. It feels like I'm just going to put out content. I'm doing my job, like bare minimum, putting out some content, telling people what I do and how they can book in. That's the bare minimum. But what it does is you talk to anyone, like I say, you're talking amongst all of those people in that room, and it really affects the energy that you're putting out, right? You're not going to receive anything other than this borderline generic sort of energy back, right? You're building your business based on this lower level of energy, this lower level of clarity. There's no clarity. You're not stepping into the next level version of yourself. You're just sitting in this level that already got you to where you are. Okay, whereas we need to be constantly like evolving and speaking to a new client all the time, and a dreamy client, and then it might evolve like maybe in a year or 6 months or whatever, and we keep evolving. So what happens is, if you're attracting the type of people that are going around the room going, well, how much are you and how much are you and how much are you? This is what happens, right? You take a couple of those clients on because you think, why not? But not every client is a great client, let's be honest. But then this is when you get to the point of feeling like you're busy, but it's not expansive. This is the point where you get to where you've taken on these clients because you're talking to anyone. So you take these clients in and you do come up against price resistance when you want to up your prices, right? Or you do get people that drop off for like pretty much no reason. Or you get to the point where people do expect more favors and they're like, oh, does the late cancellation policy seriously apply to me though? I've been coming for like 5 years, right? And you have to have those awkward conversations more and more. And what does that do? That affects your confidence and your energy. So it's like this vicious cycle, and it begins with who you're talking to. Okay? Selling to these people feels harder. Upselling to these people feels harder. You have to over-explain things to some people, right? Because the way you attracted them wasn't on a level of, we are an energetic match, right? You want to be attracting people on an energetic match. Like, you're high vibe, they're high vibe, you're highly skilled, they love that, they value what you have. That is the energetic match that you need to be attracting, so that you set yourself up for the future success, so that when you grow, they come with you, right? It's attracting the right clients so that they stick with you, unless they move towns and things. Like, when I was in my home-based beauty room, I had, fully booked, earning great money, doing what I want to do. And the only time I would have people drop off was literally if they moved town, and they were like, and I can only think of one person off the top of my head. She moved to like Cornwall or something. Well, I'm in Hertfordshire, just outside of London. So she certainly wasn't going to travel that amount of time to me, let's be honest. And of course I had backup, I had my wait list, I was sorted. But that was, when I tell people, like, I only had people that didn't come back or weren't regular when they like moved town and things. People's jaws drop, because they're like, oh, well, I've been doing this for 5 to 10 years or whatever. I am quite good. My money's okay, but, and there's always this but. And it's in the way we attract people. It's in our energy, and it's in who we are being. Okay. So moving on now to that, moving on to that energy of yours and who you're being, I want you to know that you are very much allowed to outgrow people. Because I know this is like a difficult conversation, right? And I'm off on a tangent. I don't even have notes. I'm just going, right? I want you to know that you're allowed to outgrow people, and you're allowed to put things out into the world that will attract certain people and will completely repel and alienate other people. You're allowed to do that. And there is no reason that you can't. You're making up a story in your head telling you that there's something negative about it. There isn't. There isn't at all. There's more pros than there is cons, trust me. And so what it does, talking to like the dreamiest client, it requires this new identity from you. It requires this new energy. It requires this new way of showing up. It requires you to sit down every day and tell yourself, well, what would be a more helpful belief around this? The more helpful belief would be that this is the right thing to do. I believe that this is the right thing to do. Nothing else makes sense. Why would I talk to anybody else? Of course I'm going to talk to my dreamiest client. That is the only way, right? So it requires this new up-leveled version of the way you see this, the way you see yourself showing up, the way you see yourself marketing to people, the way you see yourself writing your content and doing this like language stuff in your captions. That requires a whole new level of you, okay? Right now, it probably feels like a mountain ahead. It probably feels like, gosh, I haven't done that in such a long time. I don't know how to tweak all of my language, and it feels like you're like walking uphill. But when you feel into actually what this looks like, when you're seeing your most dreamy clients every single day, it becomes easier. It becomes clearer. You gain the clarity by working on the piece of, who is she? Who is the dreamiest client? When we identify that, we realize who we are being when we're serving them. We're like, that's how I show up. That's how I carry myself, right? So it's speaking to them that we need to be working on. So this is what I do with everyone in my coaching containers, okay? Inside Limitless, this is the type of thing that we do. I have the women in there even putting in their content, copywriting into the question section if they really need me to have a look and help them and challenge them on it and go back and forth and get it right, okay? We do this stuff on calls, it's in there. And so speaking to them looks like knowing exactly what they need, okay? Do you know exactly what your clients need on an emotional, feeling driven level, tangible level? So for me, I'm a busy mum of 3. What do you think I need when it comes to maybe beauty services that you offer? I need to feel easily put together in the mornings, like with ease. I need space, I need time. I need my own time without 3 children hanging off of me. I need to feel glamorous without having to try. I want to feel put together without having to go crazy in the mornings myself and go to all that effort. If you could give me that, if you can articulate that to me, I'll snap your hand off for whatever it is you've got to offer. Okay, that's just a very basic idea of one of my needs. Okay, so what does your ideal client need? Not your ideal, but like dreamy. If I said to you, like, you can only do this once, who is she? Okay, so it's having that understanding of what they really need, what they really want. They might think surface level, they want a little bit of time to themselves. Let's go a bit deeper. What do they really need underneath that? Okay, what are their direct pain points? Okay, direct, like what actually is going on in their life. Have a think about that. And then you can meet them where they're at. You can show them the gap. You can show them that you are the solution. You can show them that you understand. And then that's what actually makes them book you. Okay, it's the fact that you bridge that gap. It's the fact that you know where they're at, you meet them there, and then you bring them to where they want to be. That's why they book with you. So it's like, who is that? Who is your business actually aimed at? Who is it for? And we do all this in the positioning section of Limitless. We look at everything about why your brand exists, your vision, your messaging, your dream client, like how you anchor all of this in. But it comes down to, who is your business for? Who do you really want to be walking through the door all the time? Who do you want to spend all the time with? Who do you want to serve? You know, and also like what makes them book with you? It's really knowing that, like, and I don't think many people do know this. What is it that makes them go, yes, now I need it now. I'm going to press book now. What really makes them think that? You need to know the answer to that question. Once you know the answer to that question, you can speak to them at that level, at that point, and make it happen. So it's like, who is your business for? And also, like, you probably know now, we've been talking, how long have I been rambling on? 20 minutes. Oh my God, this stuff is so important. Who are you talking to at the moment in your content? Hopefully you've identified that. Who are you still trying to please? Maybe you've got clients that you're like, yeah, I actually do have to try and bend over backwards and please these people. Like, you know that you want that to stop. You know that you want more. You know that you want a client that feels easier. And also, like, if you've got an idea in your mind of who that dream client is, but you're avoiding speaking to them, why? What is it that comes up for you? What is it that pulls you back from speaking to them? What are you avoiding? Why? What's the story that you're telling yourself about, you know, if I show up that way, if I speak to them in that way, then X is going to happen, or X happens, or someone says X, Y, and Z. What is that? Because you're avoiding speaking to them for some sort of reason. But this is like the standard of marketing and messaging and positioning inside my world. You know, I can see it clearly from a bird's eye view, from a zoomed out perspective, and give you that. I can then help you move into it and move through it so that you do see the new identity. Oh my God, there's dogs barking again in this place. Honestly, I can't wait to get into my office properly again. Just ignore the dogs. So then you can see, like, A, you can see who you're being, you can see your new identity that you want to step into. B, you can see the identity of the ideal client, so you can talk to that. When we're talking to the dream client and their identity, and we can help them shift through that, oh my God, your conversions are insane. Okay? So if this is the work that you want to do, or that you know is next, all the details are in the description to book a call and have a chat with me. Literally no obligation, obviously, but it's a case of, you know, is it right for you? Is your next step to get support on this type of thing? If it is, reach out. I'm always here. Description's got everything you need. But I want to leave you with the thought of, like, you know, where are your gaps right now? What is it that you've been avoiding? I really want to leave you with that. And, you know, if you've taken something from this today, reach out to me on Instagram and let me know. I would love to know. Or pop it on your stories, tag me, put in there exactly what you've taken from it. A, I love to know who listens. B, I love to say thank you. C, I'd really like to know your overall kind of aha moments and anything else you want to see on the pod as well. I would love that. And of course, if you love it, please leave us a review, because we are out here delivering this gorgeous free content all the time for you. And it would make my life even better if I could get it out to even more and more and more of you. So yeah, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights that will help you in your beauty business and life. If you did, please take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials. The links are always in the descriptions. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you more and more great content. Until next time, keep building that business.